All the participants, a very good morning and good evening. Welcome to today's session. Today, I'll take a last session on the certification questions. Question number 54. Which of the following tools you use SQL to communicate with SAP HANA? Now we know participants, especially when connecting to SAP HANA, there are two kinds of programming languages that we can connect. The first programming language is MDX, multi-dimensional expressions. And the second one is SQL. When connecting from client, when connecting from the front end to the back end system, HANA can communicate in two ways. One is SQL and the other one is MDX. So now the question is, which tools use SQL? Business Web Intelligence use SQL. SAP Business Objects Analysis Edition for OLAP. Now please see, whenever you see OLAP, it is an MDX. These multi-dimensional expressions. OLAP connections always connect using MDX, multi-dimensional expressions. SAP Business Objects Information Design Tool. So Information Design Tool also uses SQL. SAP Business Objects Analysis Edition for Microsoft Office. So even Business Objects Analysis Edition for Microsoft Office, this tool is also using MDX, multi-dimensional expressions, analysis edition for Microsoft Office. So Excel basically use MDX to communicate to SAP HANA. Excel uses MDX to communicate to SAP HANA. And then the last one is SAP Business Objects Dashboard. So dashboards also use SQL to communicate to SAP HANA. So what are those three tools? The three tools that can communicate to SAP HANA. One is the Web Intelligence. Web Intelligence is for ad hoc reporting. And second one is Information Design Tool. Using the Information Design Tool, we can create a universe. And third one is dashboards. Dashboards also communicate using SQL. Okay, let us go to the next question. The answer is AC, and D. Web Intelligence, Information Design Tool, and Dashboard. Question number 55. What are the advantages of implementing SAP HANA using a rapid deployment solution over a traditional implementation project? So what advantages you have when implementing a rapid deployment solution? Fixed scope of implementation, no need for consultants, a lower risk, reconfigured content, and customized content. Participants, what is the major advantage? What are the advantages of implementing SAP HANA using a rapid deployment solution? First of all, what is RDS? RDS is nothing but To expedite the project, SAP gives pre-configured content. The content is already pre-configured. So when the content is pre-configured, the customization is very less, and then you have lower risk. And then fixed scope of implementation. Scope is very fixed. So when the scope is fixed, pre-configured content is provided by SAP. Everything, end-to-end solution is provided by SAP. And then the risk is lower. And you can implement the project very faster. Okay, what is the advantage? The three advantages. So A is fixed scope. The scope is fixed. Risk is lower. And pre-configured content. So there is no customized content, everything is standard. And we require consultants to implement RDS. Okay, participants? So all the participants able to hear me? Hello? I hope all the participants able to hear me. Because I got a message from participants. Participants not able to hear me from last 30 minutes. Thank you so much. So RDS is nothing but it's a pre-configured content that is provided by SAP. Already the content is developed by SAP and it is available in service marketplace. All that we need to do is, according to our business requirement, we need to download the content from service marketplace. We need to import the content into SAP. Question number 56. In a two-system landscape, you want to transport SAP HANA information models from the source system to target system. The source system has information objects that refer to the physical schema S1. The target system uses the physical schema S2. When you import the information objects into the target system, the information objects at the target cannot be opened as they still refer to the schema S1. What must you do to be able the information objects in the target system? So what must you do in order to be able to open the information objects in the target system? So what should we do? Add schema mapping, create a new schema, execute a refactoring, re-import the information models, So what must you do in order to, so first of all, what is and where do you find this add schema mapping? Please see participants. Let me go back. Click window, click perspective, reset perspective. I'll explain the question very detailedly. Just I'm trying to show you what is the purpose of schema mapping. You see participants, here you have schema mapping. So click on schema mapping and then select the system, click next. So here you can see the authoring schema and the physical schema. So here you see the outline in the physical schema. So this is the source schema and this is the target schema. So here you have the source and here you have the target. So once you go back, so what must you do? And why are you performing this schema mapping? Now normally what SAP does is, now we are discussing about RDS. RDS is nothing but standard data models provided by SAP. When you are importing these data models to SAP HANA, still it points to the dependent objects. Participants, for a data models, what are the dependent objects? For a data model, what dependent objects do you have, do you think? Schema is a dependent. Tables are dependent. To activate a data model, inside the data model, tables are specific to schema. Tables are specific to schema. Suppose say you have one table, KNA1. KNA1 is in a schema called S1. KNA1 is also in a schema called S2. Now, when the data model was developed, it was developed when KNA1 is an S1 schema. But when I'm importing the table to my system, then I'm pointing to S2 schema. In that case, do you think, participants, the data model gets activated? In such a case, do you think the data model will get activated? Because when SAP developed, they developed the data model to pointing to S1 schema. But when I am importing into my system, it is pointing to S2 schema. Now the dependency, it is not showing as S1, but it is searching for S2. Sorry, it is searching for S1, but we imported in S2. So what will happen? Data model will not get activated. In such a scenario, what we need to do? We need to map schemas. Why we need to map? We will say the schema 1, S1 is equal to S2. Where do you say that? Please see. Let me go back to the system. And here I can do what I can do. Authoring schema is S1. This time taking a simple example. And physical schema that I have, let's say best. What I'm saying now, S1 is equal to best. Again, I can take, okay. Another client who is implementing the solution will take S1 is equal to BHA1. So participants got it. What is the purpose of schema mapping? I hope all the participants. Schema mapping is nothing but to map authoring schema with that of physical schema. What is authoring schema? Authoring schema is a schema, a non-existing schema, a schema that is not existing in the system. Physical schemas are schemas which are existing. What are we trying to do? We are mapping a non-existing schema to a schema that is existing in the system so that we can activate the data model. Okay, let us go back. So in a two-system landscape, now again I read the question. You want to transport SAP HANA information models from source system to target system. The source system has information objects that are referring to the schema S1. And the target system uses a physical schema S2. When you import these information objects into the target system, the information objects of the target cannot be opened as they refer to the schema S1. what must you do in order to open the information objects in the target? What must you do? Participants, add schema mapping. That is the first thing we added. What is the second thing? Simple. Re-import the information objects. So once you add again, it need to only once you re-import again, it will start pointing to S2 schema. Just we need to re-import. Okay, participants. Let us go to the next one. In an aggregation node of a calculation view, which is the default aggregation type for an aggregated measure? In an aggregation node of a calculation view, which is the default aggregation type for an aggregated measure? Count, max, sum, minimum. So if you go to an aggregation node of a calculation view, which is the default aggregated aggregation type for an aggregated measure, TC. Let us go back. So basically it is on the cube data model. The cube data model, the default node is aggregation. TC. Here you have the aggregation node. So once I click on the aggregation node, I select the measure. So once you select the measure, so here you can see aggregation type of aggregation. So in here, in the type of aggregation, please see here, it is sum. Okay, participants. So let us go to the next question. It's a straightforward answer. The aggregation node, the default aggregation node is sum. So this comes under SQL script. Okay, so let us read this question. So it is a very easy question. You receive an activation error in a scripted calculation view that uses the following functions. See, so where do you find the scripted calculation view? Participants, calculation views are of two types. One is a graphical and the other one is scripted. Now, where do you find the scripted calculation view? Let us go back to HANA Studio. Let us right click on the package, click new, click on the calculation view, and here you can see, here you see participants, name, label, package. Here you can see the subtype, standard, graphical. Under graphical you can see graphical and scripted calculation view, SQL script. So one is graphical and the other one is SQL script. So click on SQL script, provide the name, and click finish. Once you click finish, so here you find the scripted one. So I'll show you in future session 2 to 3 examples on how we have to use the scripted calculation views. So they're asking, what is wrong in this? C underscore projection. So what wrong do you find over here? Please see. Now, what is the use of a projection node? What is the purpose of a projection node? The purpose of projection node is nothing but to select the required columns. Whenever you would like to select the required columns, we use the projection. Now, when doing a projection, what could be the reason for this error? The filter condition is not set within the square brackets. The projection list contains a field that is not part of the filter condition. The filter condition must be specified inside the projection list. The filter condition must be specified within the projection list. The filter condition contains a field that is not part of the projection list. Now here you see, what is the error here? Now please see, now in this example, do you see the filter condition contains a field? Is it a part of the projection or it's not the part of the projection? So inside the projection means it needs to be inside the CE projection. The filter condition is outside the projection. So that is the reason it causes this error. The filter condition is outside the projection. So it should be inside the projection here. The filter condition contains a field that is not part of the projection list. The projection should be defined inside this, but it is defined outside the projection list. That's why there's an error when you activate the scripted calculation views. So now these are called as C functions. For every CE function, SAP already given the syntax. So we need to follow the syntax that is provided by SAP. Gives a predefined syntax. So according to the syntax we need to follow. Question number 59. Which of the following would you use to determine the engines that are used when an information model is queried? So how do you know a particular information model is using a particular engine? So how do you know about it? So how do you know now these objects are using these engines? Please see, and I go back. Double click on the attribute view. Attribute view is executed on which engine participants? Attribute view execute on what is the type of engine? You see when I click on data foundation, when we click on the free space, what is the engine that attribute views execute on? Join engine. Join engine is the engine in which attribute views execute. Next, double click on the analytic view. click on the start join. Once you click on the start join, so here you can see the column engine is an OLAP engine. Column engine is an OLAP engine, online analytical processing. And here you find calculation views. Double click on the calculation view, click on the union. The calculation view is executed on which engine? You see what this means? They execute on calculation engine. So attribute views execute on join engine, analytic views execute on OLAP engine, and calculation views execute on calculation engine. Now the question here is, which of the following would you use to determine the engines that are used when information model is queried? When a particular information model is queried, how do you know which engine is being executed? And where can you see that? SQL plan, cache, timeline, explain plan, visualize plan. Please see, for example, go back to any of the attribute view. I click on this, click data preview. And click on raw data. So once you click on raw data, click on show log. Double click on generate SQL. Copy this statement. Once you copy, click close and close. Scroll to the top. I click on system. Click open SQL console. Copy paste. Right click on the statement. Click visualize plan. And click execute. Once you execute, so here you can see the different timeline over here. So operator list, tables used, performance trace. So in the timeline, as it's not able to execute here, it's showing some error. Comment participants. And not self statement. Okay, so I click on this, click visualize plan, and click execute. So once I click execute, so please see participants over here. So here click on the timeline. So once you click on the timeline, so here once you click on this timeline, so here you can see this I'm trying to show you. Expand the column search, expand. If you see what is this here, you can see join. The join is nothing but internally it is represented as G. It is known as J. JE means join engine. JE, what is JE stands for? Join engine. So join, whenever you execute an attribute view, by default attribute view is executed on join engine. Join engine is nothing but it is JE engine. So that is the reason here you find JE. So what was the question? The question is, how do you know whenever you execute a particular data model, it executes which engine? By using the visualize plan. And second thing is, even you can use explain plan. Where is this explain plan? Where can you find this explain plan? Let us go back again. Right click on the self statement, click visualize plan. Right click on the self statement. So here you can see explain plan. Click on the explain plan. Once you click on the explain plan, so here you can see it's a join. So when you see a join view, it means that J engine. If you see overlap view, it means that it is an analytic view. So by executing a select statement, either in the visualize plan or explain plan, we can know what is the engine that these views execute on. Whether it executes on join engine for attribute views, overlap engine for analytic views, a calculation engine for a calculation view. Again, inside a calculation view, you have star join. Star joins execute on an engine known as star joins. Okay, participants? Okay, so let us go to the next question. So I hope all the participants feel comfortable until here. I hope all the participants feeling comfortable. Yes, I'm trying to explain very detailed and every part of the question wherever it is possible for me to explain. I'm trying to explain. So once we complete this, participants, once we're able to complete this, the certification questions, then we'll move on to the S4 HANA, the B4 HANA. So once I complete these questions, because from this paper, you get about 40% of the questions will come. Okay, so let us go to the next one. Question number 16. When you use SL replication, which of the following determines the name of SAP HANA schema where the replicated data is stored? When you're using SL replication, which of the following determines the name of SAP HANA schema where the replicated data is stored? So where does the replicated data is stored? the name of the secondary database connection, the name of the replication configuration, the name of the source system schema, and the name of the RFC. The question is very simple. When you use SLT replication, which of the following determines the name of the SAP HANA schema where the replicated data is stored? So where is that the replicated data is stored? The replicated data is stored, the data that is replicated is stored in the schema. So a schema is created when you create a configuration. So whenever you create a configuration with the same name as the configuration, a schema is automatically created in SAP HANA. Then what is the answer in this case? What is the answer? The straightforward answer. The name of the replication configuration. The name of the replication configuration. Okay, let us go to the next question. You have been asked to create SAP HANA attribute view using the tables employee on the left table and department on the right table, as shown in the attached diagram. So in the diagram here you have employee table, and here you have department table. Now in here, your view should contain the columns name and D_name for all the employees. Which of the following join types do you use? Text join, inner join, referential join, and left outer join. Your view should contain the column name, D_name for all employees. Which of the following join types do you use? Text join, inner join, referential join, and left outer join. Participants, what is any answer? It's a very straightforward. Please see, it is all the employees. It's not common. It's not common that employees. You require all the employees. In that case, it's an inner join or a left outer join. When you require all the employees, because a lot of participants use the inner as another. They don't just give the B as the answer. It requires all the employees. Okay, the answer is D, which is a left outer join. Now let us go to the next question. Okay, here. Where can you reactivate a user after too many invalid logon attempts? Where can you reactivate a user after too many logon attempts? Suppose you deactivated a user, and then in that particular user, why it is deactivated because you entered logon multiple times. So it's essentially what we need to do. So go to the expand this, double click on the user John. Once you double click on the user John, so here you can see there's an icon called deactivate user or activate user. So if you deactivate the user, it will be disabled. So user John is deactivated. Now when I click on activate the user, click on activate user, what it is doing, so it is now you're trying to activate the user John. Click yes. So here I activated the user. Deactivate and activate the user. Now let us go to the next question. Question number 63. How can you improve the performance of a scripted calculation view? Read data from column tables, convert SQL code to an equivalent C function, combine analytic views using the C function, combine data from a row store and a column store. So how can you improve the performance of a scripted calculation view? Okay. So in order to improve the performance of a scripted calculation view, we need to convert the SQL code. Normally, the SQL code, the scripted calculation view has different syntax. Now, the select statement in SQL, we can write with the different syntax when using C functions. Okay, participants. So what we need to do is we need to convert the SQL code to an equivalent C functions. Question number 63. Coming to the next question. Question number 64. You are using SAP Network Business Warehouse in your company as your enterprise data warehousing, and you want to use the SAP Network BW as a data provisioning tool for SAP HANA without disturbing your existing BW reporting. Which of the following are the SAP recommended actions? Disturbing the BW. How can we achieve this? Automate ETL process in Network BW process streams. Write back data from SAP HANA to the duplicate and Network BW tables. Creating info objects for SAP HANA info providers. Schedule the real-time data load into SAP HANA. Which is the right answer? So in this case, what we need to do? Participants, what we need to do? You want to use SAP Network BW as a data provisioning tool for SAP HANA without disturbing your BW reporting. So without disturbing BW reporting, you need to use the. So in BW there is something called process chains. So what is the purpose of a process chain? A process chain is nothing but it executes sequence of events in a T code called RSPC. So using the process chains, what we can do, we can schedule data loads, and these data loads transfer data to target system. That is one way. And the second way is creating a new info objects for the SAP HANA info providers. For SAP HANA info providers, what we can do, we can create a new info objects and store data inside the info object. So what are info objects? Info objects are nothing but, please I'll show you on system where this one is. PC participants. We go to HANA Studio. So here you see there is a system called BW modeling. Click on this icon called BW modeling. Once you click on this icon, expand. The username is best. Provide the password. W capital welcome 123 and click OK. So here you can see this. So here you see BW repository and data sources. Now, so here you can expand the BW repository. So here you can so here if I open this, click on open GUI, SAP GUI. Click open, click OK. Where are we doing this? In the HANA Studio. So enter the T code here, RSPC, click enter. This is called process chain display planning view. So here you can create a process chain like this. These are nothing but sequence of events. You need to define. So here you have a start process. Come back, continue. So this is a start process. And then after the start process, what we need to do, load, data transfer process, drag and drop. And we need to choose what data process you would like to choose. So here we need to link to this. So like this we need to save. So this is one way to transfer. So this is one way that we can transfer using process chains. So what is so this one automate the ETL process in network BW using process chains. And the other here we can see creating a new info objects in SAP HANA info provider. Creating a new info objects in SAP HANA info provider. How can you do this? Let us go back. So click on File, click Import. Once you click on Import, so here you see there is a option called SAP Network BW Models. Once you click on SAP Network BW Models, please see participants here. Select this mode to import objects available in SAP Network BW system that you would like to transform to SAP HANA information models. The participants. So here you have SAP Network BW models. Okay, so question number 65 was, you need to create an SAP HANA data model based on a star schema. Which SAP HANA engine is recommended for analytical purpose? So which SAP HANA engine is recommended for analytical purpose? It's nothing but CoLab engine, online analytical processing. So question number 66. Which of the following objects would SAP HANA identify as a left object of a join in a graphical calculation view? So when you're working with a graphical calculation view, automatically the object will identify the left object of the join. So how does it identify left object of a join? The object that has field identified first in the join output, the object that is displayed on the left hand side in the join details pane, the object that is connected to the join node first, the object that is displayed on the left hand side in a graphical calculation view. So which is the right answer? Where will the join identify first? You see participants. Let us go to the HANA Studio. Click OK. Let me show you this question on system. Expand the system. Expand content. Package. double click on any calculation view. Now please see here, when I click on this join, now in this case, please see here, suppose say I link this join underscore 1 to join underscore 2 or 1. So now here you can see join underscore 1, and then I'll click on the plus icon and enter T005T. Select the table and click OK. Now let us join land 1 to land 1. Now please see here, when I click on the join, now which table is identified on the left side of the join condition? Which node is identified as the left? You see here in the left element you have join underscore 1. In the right element you have T005T. Now how come join underscore 1 is the left and T005T is on the right side? So basically from the below node, when you connect to the above node, whatever the node that you first connect, that will take as a left outer join. So that will take as a left side of the join. So here in this case, please see participate, what is the answer? Which of the following objects would SAP HANA identify as a left object of a join in a graphical calculation view? The object that is connected to the join node first. Whatever the object that you connect to the join node first, that will be identified as a left object. Now please see once again. Now suppose say I remove this. I'll remove table. I'll add table first. T005T. Select T005 and click OK. And link join 1 to join 2. Link land 1 to land 1. So here we're linking T005T with join 1. Now in this case, you see what we see in the left element. This time the left element is T005T. Okay, participants. So let us go to the next question. Which of the following are advantages of running SAP HANA Live Embedded in the Business Suite? So when you're using Business Suite, You're running SAP HANA Live Embedded. So what is SAP HANA Live? SAP HANA Live is again a predefined solution provided by SAP to implement to its client. So in this case, what is the advantage of running SAP HANA Live Embedded in SAP Business Suite? It uses generic capabilities of SAP HANA, such as the Access Engine. It provides real-time operational reporting. It allows using generic virtual data models. It creates It allows generic virtual data models. It provides real-time replication. It runs in an older version of Business Suite. So SAP HANA Live Embedded, what is the advantage? The first advantage is SAP HANA in its core has an engine called as the Access Engine. What is Access Engine? Access Engine is a lightweight web application server provided by SAP, and then it is inside the SAP HANA. So it uses the capabilities of Access Engine. Second thing is it provides real-time operational reporting. And third, it allows using generic virtual data models. So we can directly consume these HANA Live data models to the front end. So basically, an Access Engine, now where is this Access Engine? Please see here. When you go to HANA Studio, go to HANA Studio, double click on the system, click on the landscape. So here you see this is nothing but Access Engine. So what is Access Engine? Access Engine is nothing but it is a lightweight web application server provided by SAP. And here if you see, where is this HANA Live? Expand SAP, expand HANA, expand HBA, expand ECC. Once you expand ECC, the predefined models provided by SAP. So here you can find all the predefined so all these are standard delivery from SAP. And these data models provide real-time operational reporting. All these provide real-time operational reporting. Every HANA Live model, every data model that you see here, it has a view, it has a reuse view, and it has a query view. So every virtual data model that you see here has three things. One is it has virtual model. All these virtual models have three layers. One is called a private view that cannot be disturbed. And second one is the query view. And third one is the reuse view. In this case, the answer is A, B, and C. Okay, question number 68. In an SQL statement, in an SQL script calculation view, one variable contains records that are the result of the select star statement from a database table with the 10 fields. You want to use this variable to populate a new variable with the same result as restricted to 1 to 10 fields. Which C function do you use? So which C function do you use? So what is the question here? A script calculation. One variable contains the records that are the result of the select star statement from a database table with 10 fields. So whenever you would like to select, whenever you select a column, now in the 10 fields, in these 10 fields, when you want to select required columns, it's called as projection. So which C function do we use whenever you would like to select required columns to the output? Participants, which C function would you like to use? It is nothing but C projection. C projection is nothing but selection of columns. C underscore column underscore table. C underscore column underscore table is used to read data from a table. C underscore cal is to do calculations. C underscore aggregation is how you would like to summarize measure. But C projection is nothing but it is used to select required columns to the output. Nothing but C projection. Question number 69. How can you define conditions and actions in a decision table? How can you define conditions and actions in a decision table? Using above routines, using conditional expressions, use C functions, use date operations, use mathematical operations. Participants, how can you define conditions and actions in a decision table? So a C function is nothing but what is C function? C functions are nothing but calculation engine functions. So these functions are provided by SAP. All the C functions are provided by SAP by default. So how can you define conditions and actions in a decision table? So what is the decision table? We haven't seen this, but in future I will show you. A decision table is where you can do different conditional statements. So using it, you can use conditional expressions. we can use data operators, and we can use mathematical functions. We can use conditional data operations, we can use mathematical operators inside the condition actions table. Question number 70. You want to model customer master data. Which of the following must you select? Key attribute. So when you want to model the customer master, when you want to model the customer master data, which of the following must you select? So what are the things that are important when modeling the customer master data? A key attribute is important. Without a key attribute, we cannot activate. And a table is important. Adding a table and maintaining a key attribute is important. Even if you don't have hierarchy, it will activate. Even if you don't have a filter, it activates. But two things are mandatory. One is having tables as the data foundation, and the second thing is defining a key attribute. Let us go to the next question. 71. Which of the following objects can you use when you build an analytic view? When you're creating an analytic view, when we're creating an analytic view, in this analytic view, what we use? So can we use attribute views inside an analytic view? Yes, we can use. Can we use an analytic view inside an analytic view? We cannot use. Can we use hierarchies? Can we directly create hierarchies inside an analytic view? Directly inside an analytic view. Hierarchies are available inside the analytic view. Yes, hierarchies are available that are inherited from attribute views. Variable. So can we use variables? Yes, we can also use variables. And we cannot use. So inside an analytic view, we can use attribute views. We can use hierarchies. We can use So let us go to the next question. You would like to authorize a user to see data in an analytic view only for the company code 1000 and fiscal year 2000. For the company code 1005 and the fiscal year 2005, which of the following achieves this requirement? Now, in order to achieve the requirement, so how can we model this analytic privilege? In order to model this privilege, how can we model this privilege? So here, if you see one package privilege in company code 1000 and fiscal year 2000, and one analytic privilege having the company code 1005 and fiscal year 2005. So here, please see here, we'll use an attribute view called company code. Inside that, we have company code 1000 and fiscal year 2000. or if a company code 1005 and fiscal year 2005. So in this case, one entity privilege is company code 1000 and the year 2000. So in this case, it's the right answer, participants. So we need to create one analytic privilege with company code 1000 and fiscal year 2000. And the other analytic privilege we need to create with company code 1005 and fiscal year. Let us go back to HANA Studio. Let us right click on any package, click new, click on the analytic privilege. Let us give a name. Click next. Select any view. Click add and click finish. Once you click finish, so here once you select the view, click add. Suppose if you select any column here, so here what we do, we give the fixed values over here. In order to define the analytic privilege, we need to select what company codes over here with combination of, you see, the combination of one analytic privilege with the company code 1000 and fiscal year 2000 and one analytic privilege with company code 1005 and fiscal year 2005. The two analytic privileges we need to create. For the top one 1 and second one 1. Question number 73. You want to run a report on data with multiple currencies. You want to allow the end user to set target currency at a time. Which option does SAP recommend to identify the target, to identify the currency conversion? In order to do the currency conversion, how SAP recognize? So the best practice here is, which of the option does SAP recommend? So in this case, what SAP recommends over here, a calculated column inside an analytic view, currency conversion during the data load, measures enabled for conversion in an analytic view, or a C conversion function in a calculation view. Now please see, participants, we go back to HANA Studio. Let us select one measure. Double click on the analytic view, click on the star join. Let us select one measure. Now inside the measure, in order to enable for currency conversion, what we need to do? Click on the semantic type, click on show list of values, select the semantic type, click amount with currency code, and here click on conversion. Once you click on conversion, so here you can see schema for currency conversion, client for currency conversion. Now once you check this option, please see, once you check this option for conversion, automatically the conversion enabled for the measure. You see, once you select the measure and click on the semantic type and select amount with currency code, once you click on conversion, automatically it is enabled for conversion. So in here, this we call it as measures enabled for conversion in analytic view. You can enable, so you can enable, what are we trying to do? We're trying to select the measure, we're trying to semantic type, select the amount with currency code and enable the currency conversion be enabled. Question number 74. The next question. Which of the following are recommended SAP HANA modeling principles? When doing data modeling, the options that you see here, what are the recommended recommended principles? Use complex expression like if or case. Always do the calculation after aggregation. Filter the data amount as early as possible in the lower layers. Join the tables on a key columns. So use complex expressions like if or case. Always do the calculation after aggregation. Filter data amount as early as possible in the lower layers. Join tables on key columns. So in this question that you see here, so filter data amount as early as possible in the lower layers. So how do you filter data as early as possible in the lower layers? By creating a design type filter. So once you create a design type filter, data gets filtered automatically in the lower layers. And always we need to make sure we need to join on key column table. So once I go back, let me open company code master. Once I right click on view canvas, click apply filter, click show list of values. Now here you can see the different company codes over here. And click OK. So here you can see the different company codes. So just you're trying to select some company codes over here. let us go back again. So which of the following are recommended SAP HANA modeling principles? Filter data amount as early as possible in the lower layers, and join tables on key columns. Always we need to make sure we need to join tables on key columns. So these are the two important modeling principles when doing data modeling in SAP HANA Studio. What is the lowest level of granularity you can use in an analytic privilege? So inside an analytic privilege, when you're creating an analytic privilege, what is the lowest level of granularity you can use? So the lowest level of granularity is always an attribute value. You can use the attribute value. Attribute value is nothing but, you see here, I go back to the analytic privilege. You see what is the lowest I can use here, value. What value? These are nothing but attribute values. All these are different values. For what they are values for an attribute. So let us go to the next question. Which programming language do we use for SAP landscape transformation based transformation rules? When working on SLT, which programming language do you use? You use ABAP or we use SQL script? Now, TC participants, let me log on to SLT. Let us log into SAP SLT. When you go to LTRC, when you go to a T code called IUUC underscore REPL underscore content. So basically, the T code called IUUC underscore REPL underscore content. So in this T code, if you go to this T code, IUUC underscore REPL. Once you go to this T code, once you double click on any configuration, you see here, you can see array table. And here you can write event related rules or field related rules. And a buffer can write like begin of processing, begin of block, begin of loop, end of block. So all these are so in this case, what you can do, you can also use include programs. DC participants. You can also use different include programs. So completely SLT is based on ABAP. So the question here is, which programming language do we use for SAP landscape transformation based transfer? We cannot use SQL script, Java, or JavaScript it's only, we can use ABAP. Question number 77. In which engines is an analytic view executed that contains a calculated column? If an analytic view contains a calculated column, and that particular column executes on which calculation, which engine? So whenever an analytic view contains a calculated column, and that particular, it executes on calculation engine as well as OLAP engine. It executes on the calculation engine. Also, it executes on OLAP engine. So RPC is asking us to choose two answers. It executes both in a calculation as well as OLAP. First it executes in OLAP, then the results are transferred to the calculation view. Question number 78. You're using SAP landscape transformation to replicate data into SAP HANA. Which of the following can you use to define the schema that the replicated data populates? So the replicated data is populating into a particular schema, but how that schema is defined? So by what means that schema is defined? By the replicated data to be executed into that particular schema. So normally what we do, you create a configuration. A configuration is nothing but a connection. Whatever the name that you give for a configuration, with the same name, automatically a schema is created. So participants, what is the answer here? So whenever you create a configuration, the same name as the configuration, automatically a schema is created. And this thing we do it in LTRC, Landscape Transformation Replication Code. We do it in LTRC. So for now, here you see, even you can do it in a T code called LTR. Now what is LTR? LTR nothing but it is equal to LTRC, but LTR works in Web10 Pro framework. And LTRC works in ABAP. Both are same. So to create a schema, we need to create a configuration. Question number 79. So only two questions we have. So after this dump is complete, and then we start the B4 HANA. From the next week onwards, I start the B4 HANA. You have SAP NetWeaver Business Warehouse or BW on SAP HANA. System installed on multiple nodes. So which of the following information objects are stored on the master node. So when you would like to use BW on SAP HANA, what objects stored on the master node? On the master node, all the system related tables and things that are related to ABAP. See, so in this case, a system related tables are stored on the master node, and the business data like data store objects so the option here is the database tables that are related to ABAP. Nothing but ABAP system tables are stored on the master node. So last question. Which of the following criteria indicate that you should store data in a row tables? So when do you prefer storing data in a row-oriented table? So what is the preference to store data in a row orientation? When do you prefer to store data in a row orientation? So we prefer to store data in row orientation. The table requires frequent write access. The table requires frequent write access. Okay, participants. So whenever you require a frequent write access, then we go for row orientation. The second thing is when you require the complete row, complete record. So whenever you require the complete record, then also we go for a row orientation. The frequent write access and also frequently need to access complete record. From tomorrow, after completion of today's session, I'll go with a very new topic. Thank you all the participants to attend today's session on the certification. From the next session onwards, I'm going to take up a new topic